make the most of it. So up next now is Jen. I'm just going to discuss the euro pairs and just any possible trade ideas that are around as well. So all yours now, Jen.
Thanks, Scott. So today being Tuesday, looking at the euro dollar, actually it's going to be quite interesting. Why I say that is because as we look at the possible euro news, and I've got one here, but looking at the forextradingasia.com economic calendar here, this week is actually quite a news heavy week, especially for the euro dollar and also the pound dollar. Why I say that? Today being Tuesday, we've all spoken about the RBA to be released in about an hour's time. Following on from that, we do have the euro GDP number later today at 5 p.m. Singapore time GMT +8. GDP for the Eurozone looking to stay at a 2% quarter-on-quarter, and for the year-on-year looking to stay at 13.6%. So what you should be looking at here, or what you should be interpreting from this, is that we're seeing some consistency from the Eurozone. We're looking at consistency being good news for the euro, possibly good news for the euro dollar. But this is not the main event here. On Wednesday, we do have, the Bank of Canada, which Kim Hong spoke about. I'll tell you a bit more about that shortly. On Thursday, look at that. On Thursday evening, starting from Thursday evening at 19:45 hours, we do have the Eurozone deposit rate facility staying at a negative rate, -0.5%. The deposit facility is the interest rates for the Eurozone staying at a -0.5%. And then the rate decision with the policy statement and a press conference to follow from at 8:30 as well. So pay attention. This will be the main event for the Eurozone, with the central bank giving their insights, giving their thoughts about how they view the economy as a whole and what kind of thoughts and actions they're going to be taking to either adjust by slowing down or adjust by speeding up the economy to maintain the current performance. So to give you a bit more about central banks, a bit more about the ECB, for FX traders in particular, we pay a lot of attention to what central bankers are thinking about. We pay attention to what central bankers are planning, not so much about the president, not so much about the overall economy as a number, but what the central bankers are thinking of doing, because the central bankers look at the inflation number, which I'll tell you about, and the central bankers look at the overall GDP numbers, look at the speed of growth in the country. So what we're looking at for the ECB here at this point now is, as a news here, that is, will the ECB, is a preview, will the ECB taper bond purchases, right? So cutting through all that, current inflation for the Eurozone is at 3% for August, previously at 2.2% in July. This is the fastest over a decade and well over the ECB's target of 2%. Central bankers want to keep inflation targets between 2 to 3%. So when it gets to that 3% level, it looks like it might be a little bit too fast for the ECB in general, in a broad view, if you're looking at it. But what our view is that the ECB might come out and say, inflation now is at 3%, but this could be transitory. This could be short to medium term. They haven't seen this as a long-term number. They haven't seen this as possibly sustaining between the 2 to 3%. So we might see that the ECB will not take action on this inflationary number at 3% or the CPI number at 3% because they might view it as transitory. Following on from that, Are they going to taper? Are they likely to taper? The general talk is that they might look to taper. They might be taking it down from 80 billion to between 60 to 70 billion euros a month. They might look to taper it down, but based on our view, we're looking at it. The main thing here is this vote could be a close call. We think that because the ECB could be looking at inflation as a transitory number, putting that together with not getting entirely out of the woods with the virus at this point, they might hold off the taper and delay it slightly towards the end of the year. So putting all that together, what this actually means is that there could be a good trading opportunity with the news to be released on Thursday evening. So you have a trading opportunity with the GDP number later today. And then after that, you have a bit of a break. You have a good trading opportunity on Thursday evening with the possible bit of surprise coming from the ECB with the possible lack of action, which everyone's anticipating. Everyone's expecting them to possibly, take some action because of inflation hitting 3%, possibly take some action with the tapering. My view or our view is that we might see the ECB sit back, wait, let it play out a little bit more and not take action at this point or at this meeting. So after that, on Friday, we do have some couple of ECB news again, but these are possibly not big price movers. The attention should shift towards the pound, which I'll tell you more about tomorrow. So what does all this mean? Putting it into the chart here, looking at the euro dollar on the H4 time frame. Same thing as I told you last week. Last week I said that we can see that buying opportunity if it broke above towards that 1.1897 or 1.19 level. I'll make this a nice round number. So at about 1.19, that's a very key resistance level. What I think that we could see from this point is if GDP stays, given that GDP is likely to stay at that 2% quarter on quarter, we could see it break upwards. We could see it break upwards slightly. Okay, so that could happen later today as the euro dollar continues moving up. But I think that given the possible non-event from the ECB on Thursday evening, given the possible non-event from the ECB on Thursday evening, we could see that test back down again because everyone expecting them to taper, everyone's expecting some action from the Eurozone, and if they don't do anything, they're going to disappoint the market a little bit. We could see it come back down. So what I'm looking for at this point is for that reaction towards that 1.19 level. Same thing, looking for that selling opportunity as it breaks downwards from this resistance level. You could be looking at a selling of at about 1.1885, a little bit aggressive, 1.1885, a 30 pip stop loss for a good 100 pip take profit level. You're looking at above 1:3 risk reward ratio, almost a 1:4 risk reward ratio towards the downside. But bear in mind, this is a counter trend trade. This is dependent on the ECB disappointing the markets a little bit without taking action. This is going to be something that you want to manage a little bit closely, size down on your trade because it's that counter trend. It might not go the full 120 pips. It might come down to about 50 or 60 before sitting and then possibly reversing back up again. So possible counter trend trade. Not sure if it go all the way, but I'm pretty sure that we could see some reaction towards that 1.19 resistance level at this point. So with all that said, there is that news for the ECB coming up. We have the Bank of Canada news to be released as well. What I want to share with you before I hand it back to Scott is that, with this ECOFIN platform that we have for all the Traders Club members, This is where we get into all the details, the quick updates. Whenever I think of anything or I see any trade ideas, I'll put it up. Same like what I did for non-farm payrolls. I did that before the non-farm payroll was released on Friday. Did a quick video guiding everyone through different charts and different pairs. What are the trade ideas? What you could be looking for, what to trade towards, with the view of the non-farm payroll data to be released. So Traders Club members, watch out for the video. I'll be doing one for the Bank of Canada with a trade idea specific that we could be looking at. So Kim Hong went through the data, went through the expectation. I'll give you the trade idea specific. And also possibly on Thursday, I'll do one more for the ECB to be released before the news is being released. So if you're not already on the Traders Club, the links are there. Make sure you jump onto the Traders Club so that you get all those trade ideas, not just this currency call, but all those other trade ideas before the news is being released.